Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. I am your host, Ben, and with me as always are my co-hosts.
I'm Mike.
I'm Matt.
What up? What up? It's Andrew.
How you guys doing this week? How we been?
Chilling, man. You know, been another week of just slaving away for the corporate overlords. So just excited to have my 48 hours of free time.
Yeah, I've got to say I haven't gotten much game time in this week myself. It's been a little kind of been not living up to the high standards we set for ourselves here at Campaign Comrades.
Same, honestly.
Gotta get those numbers
going
up.
into last night. I only had an hour going in.
Wow, go again. What did you end up? You haven't slept.
Did 1.5 last night and 2 this morning.
Reasonable.
That is reasonable.
My question is, did everyone put on their weekly deodorant?
Weekly.
Their weekly gamer allotment of deodorant. Did
Sorry,
everyone
I have to go to an
week?
office 5 days a week. That's got to
Yeah.
be a daily thing.
So I'm probably off. So I'm off the schedule. I'm maybe like a few days behind the curve.
You're an atypical gamer, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, if the internet has anything to prove, it's like, yeah, you are the exception that proves the rule.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, we've got some stuff to cover today. I think our main order of business is we've got this a nice juicy article to dissect for the fans at home, and it's going to be a bit of a long one, so we're going to try to kind of speed round through the other things that were of major interest to us this past week or so. I will start it off by one interesting thing I've noted is like in the course of our history, starting this podcast, it's like we'll have weeks where there's something, I'll just say something different, something new that comes up that we're able to get an interesting discussion out of. And then when it's maybe a bit of a lull in terms of, say, new releases or big rumors or bombshell reports or whatever, it usually comes down to what has Activision done wrong this week and who's trying to push the metaverse on us. It's like the weirdness to me of that, how it's when there's nothing else to talk about, there's always something happening with those two subjects.
Dude,
and they always seem to be happening at the same time. And I realize it's more just a trick of it's the trick of the human mind. It's just the reality that those things are just constantly going on in the background. It's the bad things keep churning, and when there's other interesting distraction, shiny things to bring our attention away, it's like, yeah, okay, it's going on. It's not really going on, but it's the fact that, yeah, these things are always happening.
Well, they're always happening, and then like you said, when there's no shiny things there to distract us. These gaming journalists will be pumping out articles about whatever Activision's doing or whatever is going on in the metaverse just to fill the space.
But it does seem, though, when it, like the strangeness to me is that there are usually some interesting gems to find within those the minutia of these. It's sad to say that these topics have become everyday things like that. It's, oh yes, Activision has done something horrible to its employees yet again. Oh yeah, what else is new?
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Like that doesn't get the juices flowing anymore because it's not really new. And it's something that I think we got to help combat with our coverage here, to keep the spotlight on and not let them sneak away into the shadows and let all this stuff kind of just be carry on business as usual. Activision has had quite a interesting couple of weeks since our last episode. Again, like we were just saying, things have never stopped with them. It's just our coverage may kind of dip in and out of them, but can always be pretty self-assured that, yeah, they're doing something shady.
Yeah, Activision's really claiming their lead as like the most evil video game company. They're just like, yeah, that's what we're going to be known for. We're going to be known for the bad guys. That's us.
Like EA, never heard
fame
of
is
them.
fame, I guess.
Yeah, right.
No, exactly.
Full heel turn.
Like you still know who they are, right? What's that? Pirates of the Caribbean? But you do know of me. You have heard of me.
For real.
So let's start off the bat by saying, solidarity with all workers and employees at Activision Blizzard King and all its various subsidiaries who have continued the good work of putting pressure on management to back down from just blatantly abusive and dangerous policies that put employees at undue risk for profit's sake. Activision has prominently been in the news because of the fallout of the various lawsuits detailing the decades of frat bro culture and sexual harassment, discrimination, just poor worker practice against women, LGBTQ, racially marginalized employees. Like it's you run the spectrum. They've done it, but there is hope to see that there are organizers on the ground within Activision who are putting pressure on and continuing to, I hate to use the phrase, but to hold them accountable. They made news by their big walkout after the summary termination of 12 quality assurance testers at Raven, and that's really what kind of catalyzed the union push. But so like 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks from it'll be at least 2 weeks from when this comes out, activist Jessica Gonzalez, who is no longer an employee with Activision Blizzard, but was a former employee who is still at the forefront of these organizing efforts. She posted for the public an email from one of the shithead executives, I forget his name, but detailing their intention to end employee vaccination requirements for all their offices, a better ABK, and with support of the union, threatened another walkout after receiving word of this, and they then quickly had to walk it back. And as the time of this recording, at least 4 of the studios have reinstated their own vaccine mandate. But yeah, the employees were not happy, and they are showing worker power through solidarity, and something to be commended, I'd say.
I find this interesting, again, just to we've said this before, that we could look at the video game industry in particular as like a case study for workers' rights and just like the nature of how neoliberal capitalist economy works, and how and what tactics they are going to employ to exploit workers. And this is another example of an opportunity in which a company could have continued remote work, or at least changed the nature in which they engage with the office as workers. Because a lot of what is going on, and we've discussed this before, in video game development is possible to do remotely. I think workers should have an option to go into the office as like another space to go and just kind of change it up. But a lot of what they could do is remote work. And so
particularly at these big studios,
yes.
I think that's a good point to highlight, is the fact that these are international studios
that have been doing remote work for years.
Yeah, I mean, have been collaborating with studios across the world in different time zones, and have been remote in that sense forever.
So this vaccine requirement is around the fact that they're doing a return to work come June, where employees are expected to go back. And I don't know the detail, or if there have been released like the granular details of this return to work program and what sort of accommodations they may be giving to employees that are, immunocompromised or have some sort of.
I've seen some stuff that they have put some.
I mean,
exceptions into place.
They have to by law for to some extent, but. So, this is a conversation I've had with Andrew before about just the nature of like commercial property and like these businesses and, especially a large development studio like this. Like, I don't know if Activision Blizzard rents their space or owns it somehow, but there's a lot of money going into the commercial real estate in which these companies operate, and that is what is driving a lot of this return to work. So I guess I'm just trying to point out the interconnectivity of these different problems that we're dealing with, these political issues we're dealing with, whether it's the nature of like real estate and housing, labor, how the capitalist economy is kind of structured. And I continue to think that looking at the video game industry is a great case study to not only what is going on like the elite like owner side, what they're doing, but also like the worker solidarity that goes on, and the fact that they could get a company like Activision to quickly roll back a vaccine requirement, or the lack thereof a vaccine requirement in their return to work policy, I think is a pretty big win, especially in that industry.
I think that's a good point. And again, it's this, we've made that argument before. And I think it can never be said enough that yes, this industry is, a good encapsulation of the larger economy as a whole. And I do, however, want to, while still, singing the praises of a better APK and all the activists who are doing good work there, and all the the people working to form the union. Let's not be confused about still who holds the power in this relationship, and it's not to be confused to say that the workers are have an easy fight ahead of them. As we see the next thing that Activision has done after that, it's like they just can't help themselves, like they got some bad press, gotta sprinkle on a little bit more. They announced that they are making all temporary and contingent quality assurance QA workers for Activision Publishing and Blizzard divisions. They're all being converted to full-time employees with benefits, equating to roughly the number was like 1,100 contract workers are getting this. However, with the exclusion of all Raven Software employees who are seeking to unionize.
Dude,
convenient, ain't it?
It's just because it's how the law's written. It's not their fault. All right. So first off, there's that. And second off, I think Activision, you said this is them being bad, but Activision felt this was them very much being good. They're like, look at what we did, guys.
It's like, it's good. Like they're almost like they're pickup artists here, and they're trying to do like the pro sandwich of compliments. Yeah. But they're doing it opposite.
Sneak that one in.
They're doing it opposite. It's like, they've got rid of the vaccine requirement. Bad. They rolled it back. Good press, because they like listen to workers. Then they give the QA testers full-time jobs, but they leave out Raven Software. So it's like they got the meat and the lettuce in there between the two shitty pieces of bread. Andrew, you bring up the law, how the law is written, the NLRB rule, which is there to. You're not allowed to extend benefits to employees that are in the process of unionizing, and the idea behind that is
kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you're not like, you can't entice those members to,
can't bribe them.
Exactly. Yeah. But
you can just do a little bribery.
But it clearly misses the point, and like this is just a fault of when the NLRB, or the NLRA really was written and first like thought of. It's like these small shops. They're not thinking of like these huge giant mega corporations that have all these other employees, which they can leverage against the unionizing employees. So that's clearly what they're doing.
The whole
here.
goal of this was just to demoralize the Raven Software
Right.
devs.
Yeah, for sure.
It was basically like, hey, look what you could have had if you
Right.
did
Exactly.
If you were
That's
good, if you
100%.
were good boys and girls in NBs, you could have gotten this nice raise.
that.
Not
That
even
was
a
the
raise,
end
but, like,
goal. It wasn't
Well,
anything more or
Absolutely.
less.
and what they're what Activision is trying to do here is to get all those people that were probably on the fence already about voting with the union
right.
to then be like,
to
shit,
vote
I
against
really
it in
fucked
hopes
myself.
that they can get
Exactly, in hopes that if the union doesn't go through, they'll get these same benefits, and they probably will.
Isn't it better when we're a family? Isn't it better
Yes.
when we're just
And-
a nice family that we can respond to your needs?
Well, and the beauty
See,
of
like
that is
look what the union does. It makes like the union process makes things more difficult for you.
yeah.
I love the family argument because there are some really toxic fucking families out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like we're like a family. Like, oh, good. There's some really bad examples of that to
Yeah.
follow.
Yeah, which family?
Yeah. Whose family are we talking about here, guys?
They're like, we're talking about the family, the mob.
It'd be a shame if you lost your health insurance over a little accident, let's say.
And like, but like the other thing about it too is that all those people who did get converted now also are less likely to want to form a union at the time being, because like they're gonna be like,
because
I'm
they're
getting 20
watching
bucks now.
the
How much
people
better
trying
could
to
I
form
do?
a union get like not actively punished, more like passively punished.
Yeah.
And they know that if they try to do this again, they will also probably be on the receiving end of passive punishment in some form.
They're trying to pacify these other full-time QA testers as well. They're not only trying to passively, hurt the employees that are trying to seek the union, they're just pacifying these employees with the good benefits. So like in their head, and this was something that was discussed in the article that we read in the Labor and Gaming, it's like in their head, they've achieved what they think is like the pinnacle of, employment under our system. They've gotten full-time employment with benefits. What more could they ask for? And the union, like Matt's pointed out, the union process is just a hassle that puts you at risk, for which Americans are fucking risk adverse, except when they want to try to like play the stock market or the lottery and like throw money away. But like major decisions like this, they're risk adverse and they don't want to, push the buttons with their employers. So I think, you're right to point out that this is going to have like ripple effects for future organizing within Activision, Microsoft, whatever fucking company it becomes.
Well, yeah, it'll be
soft
from here on out. Once the Activision Blizzard purchase actually finishes, because it's still not done yet technically. Yeah. It'll be Microsoft's ownership of all of this stuff. And I mean, look at Microsoft's track record with how they've handled this stuff in the past. They've got a beautiful one, right? It's all roses and sunshine.
Yeah, it's not like half the people being like investigated or fired or like outright sued for sexual harassment actually didn't come from Microsoft beforehand.
I was gonna say, what wasn't one of the major Activision guys a Microsoft guy?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
What did they do with contract workers with Halo Infinite? 18-month contracts and out, and that game is dying. Dead.
Yeah, Halo Infinite's doing real well.
And so I know we don't want to spend too much more time on this because we want to get to the article, but like one other thing that I want to point out with this ripple effect is one of the things that I fear, and this is kind of like raising that or heightening that fear, is that this kind of like movement, the labor movement, the popularity of it is going to kind of fizzle out. And with companies making moves like Activision is here with like offering full-time benefits, because they do the calculation that to give the employees like the shittiest version of full-time employment and benefits is going to be less money than if they go through the unionization process. So they're just going to throw that out there. And what it's going to do is just like eventually create very like small and isolated unions within the industry. And like, maybe Raven will always have a QA tester union, but that's not going to spread throughout the industry, or, like whatever unions come out of this.
Raven will probably just end up getting more or less blackballed out of QAing is what'll happen. is that, you know, a couple big devs will stop using them, and then eventually they'll be relegated to the side projects and the
just become like an indie studio, and like unionization will be like limited to like indie.
I love how you say indie studio like that's a bad thing. I was trying to avoid using that terminology.
And I'm not trying to say it as a bad thing, but like, you know, like that.
Cancel him.
Just like, you know, with
I'm
that
on a roll.
Get his ass.
with that pattern of like, you know, kind of just making it more of a niche. You know, like unionization becomes a niche in the industry rather than the like the
I just wanted to make sure I clarified that we're not saying being an indie studio is a bad thing. Like indie development is the, you know, pillar of gaming currently. It really raises up those dead zones when we get, you know, the shit slop. And I've just got a quick Matt fact about the shit slop that we've had recently. So Battlefield 2042 hit a record
I saw this.
low player count.
I'm doing the you know, hand rubbing meme. Like,
record low player count on Steam of, I think it was under 800. I think it was 787 concurrent players. I think it was like Tuesday night last week.
I think
you hear this recording, which was less than the 9-year-old Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance hack and slash game. Just to put that into perspective. But even worse, Babylon's Fall, the concurrent Steam player count was 7.
7?
It was less than 10.
People.
I saw the headline, less than 10. I was like, what?
7 people concurrently playing Babylon's Fall this past week.
We've had more people watch our streams.
Yeah, literally.
Like, admittedly, that's on Steam, and those types of games might have a bigger audience on PS5 where they're considered a console exclusive. It's a horrible game. I don't know people who would buy that. You could just buy Godfall or get the free version and get the exact same experience. But yeah, no, I just thought that was a funny one to throw in there, that like people were panicking about Battlefield 2042, admittedly in a good reason, because that is a horrible player count for a just recently released multiplayer shooter that's, you know, the dominant thing that it's supposed to be
from
on the online player base.
The other thing was Halo Infinite dropped below the other
Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, the Master Chief Collection.
It's okay though. They released an update for what season 2 is going to bring, guys. One new map, baby.
Nice.
One new map since launch on a free-to-play multiplayer online shooter. Ooh, that's a can of worms that we just can't get into right now. There's too much there.
Yeah.
So last bit of Activision news that we don't need to like go too far into it because there's actually not a whole lot there that's been revealed at this point, but we got to give the shout out to the absolute boy, the legend, California Governor Gruesome Gavin himself is accused of interfering with the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, their discrimination lawsuit against Activision. At this point, the two top state lawyers at the agency have the top lawyer was fired by the governor's office, and the number 2 resigned in protest to the interference and the unjust termination. But then what I found out this morning is there's even more. There is a little bit more. That a Politico report reveals that an Activision board member, Casey Wasserman, the founder and CEO of sports marketing and talent agency Wasserman Media Group, donated $100,000 to Newsom's campaign to defeat the recall efforts. So there's some intermingling, some touching of tips going on there that
pockets.
Yeah, that just raises some eyebrows, some red flags there. But it's just, oh man, the most overtly corrupt Democratic official, doing more corruption out in the open.
That means now, because Cuomo could have taken that.
True, but like doing the basically doing the legwork for Activision's lawyers themselves. That's what the main report of the interference was, is that they were just like demanding constant updates on the status of the of the investigation.
I love that move.
in way it's like, it's they're demanding the I don't know the legal terms around it,
The
but
litigation plans.
Yeah. So I mean, so what?
Just the outline of they wanted for notice the outline of the prosecution's strategy.
Yeah.
And then when the top lawyer was like, no, fuck off, it's like, okay, you're fired. You're no longer
fired.
Which to me, it's this story is.
I personally picture the engagement being him sitting at a desk and asking him sitting across from him, and when he said no, he just hit a button and the floor dropped out from below him.
It was actually a female attorney, so you're canceled. So
how do you know she identifies as female?
You can't cancel the canceller.
Canceled for assuming all lawyers are male, even though most of them are.
even though, what is it, like 85%? What are we looking
was probably
at
getting closer to 60-40. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're almost at Norwich University's male to female ratio.
Yeah, I mean
almost.
That's a good amount of colleges are at that ratio. Okay, but so beyond that, what's going on here is just like it's so inside baseball for like it's so nerdy. You could get so nerdy with it, with like legal ethics rules and like who the prosecutor, or like the AG's office represents, and how Gruesome Gavin Newsom is trying to the prosecutor represents the people, but because he's the executive, he's trying to kind of like assert that role and make it like his investigation because of the appointment process of the AG. So it's just like all this shit going on, and like there's legal nerds out there just fucking like sucking themselves off for like what's going on, because it's just there's so much you could dig into it. But the fact that prior to her actual leaving the office and then the resignation of her deputy, the top attorney, I can't remember her name, but she said that what Gruesome Gavin was coming up with and like talking to them about was just parroting the Activision like their interests. So exactly. Presumably like Gruesome Gavin Newsom is going to be just turning around to Activision's lawyers with that litigation plan.
No, he'd never do that.
Just hitting that forward button.
I also want to put forth a motion to forever now call him GG for Gruesome Gavin.
GG, dude.
To put an idea out there, Ben, about the bubble I've put myself in. When you started leading in with Legend, I was like, are we talking about the man himself? Let me solo her.
And that I think is going to require an investigative.
That's going to be an entire deep dive episode.
Yeah. The intricacies.
I'm going to reach out to him on Reddit. He did an AMA on the Elden Ring subreddit.
Awesome. I did not see that. No, there's just been that's just an interesting little digression. There's been so much great fan art. Matt sent me an STL for a 3D model of Let Me Solo Her, just in all his nude pothead glory. It's just and for those who are unfamiliar, a literal pot on his head.
Yeah,
wearing
my favorite part about
loincloth
that
and a pot
is he's not even getting the one benefit that pot has, which is it like boosts your your throwing pot damage when you use those. He's not even using throwing pots. That's awesome. I love that he's wearing the stupid helmet and not even using it for the one thing it's used for.
Yeah, what an absolute legend.
He's just wearing it for drip, man.
It is drip.
All right, yeah. So Matt's brain has been cursed by Elden Ring. That's all he can think about. We know this. I've been immersing myself more into the what is now the second biggest physical launch of the year, the Star Wars Lego game, the Skywalker Saga game. We talked about this before recording. I'm almost done with the prequels. I'm enjoying.
Did you start with the sequels?
No, I didn't. I decided to do chronological. I kind of wanted to go psychotic.
I'm glad that makes me feel better.
I wanted to get a little nutty with it, but I'm going chronological.
Play in worst movie order. So 9, 8, 1, 7.
Whoa. Put an 8.
Getting controversial here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to. Yeah, we don't need to set the internet aflame here.
We're saying the most leftist of the series is, second to worst.
But let's not forget that movie still has loads of problems.
Yes,
as
of
a
course.
movie.
I mean, it's a Disney movie, so
yeah. But so why I bring it up though is because for our next topic, as we already talked about, it's metaverse o'clock. The time is now. The Lego group of all things joined with Sony, each investing $1 billion in a round of funding for Epic Games in effort to quote unquote build the metaverse, but also to make it.
That's a big investment for
but also
Sony.
to make it kid friendly.
That's what Lego's there for.
Right.
To make it kid friendly.
And, I have a question. Do modern kids play with Legos?
yes.
I feel like that's
they
a
do.
dead thing, a
No,
dying
still
breed.
it's still a
It's still a
thing.
huge thing.
I think it's actually had a
renaissance.
a bigger resurgence.
Because
yeah.
whenever I see
Renaissance.
people talking about Legos, it's adults talking about collectible Legos.
No.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's there. I mean,
That's just the bubble
still,
you're in.
There's both.
It's still popular there, but
I don't hang out with kids.
That is still a
Thank
huge
you.
part of the market, though. That is definitely still a huge part of the
Yeah.
market. Is quote unquote hobbyists.
Dude, it's big enough that
and
Fox,
excuse
Fox
me,
has
it
a
is
game
it is
show.
always Lego.
Legos.
Lego.
It is only ever Lego.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
you mean
not
Mega
plural.
Blocks?
But my bit is they're gonna make a Lego metaverse, and it's like that shit basically already exists, with Roblox things. They already look
Minecraft.
like the characters already look like
Roblox, Minecraft,
Yeah.
VR chat.
No, but this will have a NFT virtual real estate marketplace that you can
And
invest in.
30% of it.
One thing I want to point out, and it's another thing that we've said before on the podcast, is I think so. If not, I'm saying it now. To watch lawyers, because they're the fucking parasites of capitalism. And recently, around the same time this is starting to come out, the ABA, which is what creates some of the model rules for lawyers and ethics, just changed.
That's the Bar Association.
Yeah, it's the American Bar Association.
Bar
But we could get into nerdy stuff about their jurisdiction over lawyers, whatever. But they came out with model rules that usually states will adopt, and one of them was surrounding legal advertisements, which is always a big thing in ethics, but it's advertising in the metaverse and having physical legal offices, physical in quotes, but physical legal offices within the metaverse. So it's becoming very, very popular amongst big corporate lawyers to get into NFTs in the metaverse. So be prepared.
So,
the infrastructure is
remember that thing we were talking about earlier about how they want you to go back to the office because they own the offices and expensive and it's an investment.
Yep.
They're going to make metaverse offices so that when you're at home, you're still in the office, and then boom.
Well, yeah.
Boom.
I mean, that's once they can move all their commercial real estate to only owning commercial real estate in the metaverse and don't have to have a physical office
with zero overhead.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Your
It's only
actual houses
server
are slowly
overhead.
going to devolve
Yeah.
into just a closet with a VR head that pops down
No,
over
it would
you.
literally be Ready Player One, where you're in a
that's
shack,
our future.
You're living in the stacks of shipping containers.
Yeah.
That's the future Mark
Yeah.
Zuckerberg wants.
I'm picturing a District 9 where all the proms.
Oh,
live.
geez.
Speaking of Zuckerberg, I saw something about I think actually Matt,
Zuckbucks?
you were the one who posted this in the group chat. Something they're talking about how anything that takes place in the Facebook version of metaverse,
they get 30% of.
It's more than that. They get essentially just under 50% of all transactions.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure
Nice.
Zuckbucks, if you
It's
use Zuckbucks,
47.5%. It's it's insane.
Nice.
I was laughing so hard when I read that.
God.
Man, it's just they can't help themselves. They
He's
can't
lost
help
his,
it.
his brain is just so.
You know why they do that though, right?
poison.
Because if you come in with a ridiculous first offer,
Yeah, they're gonna end up getting
and
a
make
quarter.
them come to you instead of you go to them. Whew. They'll end up getting like 30%, like
Yeah.
you said.
Now it's gonna be
they're
like-
That'll
get
be
a
like the
ton.
compromise.
I mean, what they're doing is just looking at the litigation that was around the Apple App Store and like the
100%.
and just being like, okay, how far can we push the limits of this precedent? Oh, under 50%? Yeah, that's fine.
Golden.
Yeah, we're
Golden.
good. We're good.
Yeah,
As long as they're
Yeah.
taking more than 50%, we're fine.
yeah.
And I'm sure it'll be litigated, and they'll still walk away with some large percentage.
Listen, you got to pay your rent to be in the marketplace. Okay,
Yeah.
you got to pay rent. You got to
All right.
pay your rent.
All right, guys. I want to switch gears and I want to move to the article for today because
Can I just quickly say one thing? It's hilarious. Ubisoft, less than 4 months already later, and they're already like
abandoning support.
abandoning the NFT holders. So like those people who supposedly had something of worth of value, it's now worth nothing. They've already done it. They've already done it.
They're
For all of our
they're
listeners,
they're
I'm
assuring
making a
them.
shocked Pikachu face.
Yeah, they're assuring them. They promise that they're going to incorporate tokens into future games that they can bring them over. But they are literally holding the bag right now.
Love it.
But yeah, we got another metaverse, another blockchain crypto story here. But why I want to talk about this one is just about how utterly strange and in the end self-defeating it is. And it's a great example because it's just like more than any other example of like Web3 stuff I've seen. It's like it has embraced the full contradictions of capitalism at its core, and just like does it's the picture that this article paints of the head guy at this company is just amazing. This guy is just a sweet moron, just a sweet innocent moron. Not actually a con artist, just dumb, which I gotta love. Dumb guy representation. Let's go. But so let's drop it. This new company just received $2.5 million in funding from various
Nice.
VC firms.
Nice, good for them.
The people who are going to destroy this planet. But so this company is called Gripnr. Gripnr, hardly even know her. It is apparently. I think that's going to be the episode title.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, so I'll just jump into it because it actually explains what it's in reference to. So this article is NFTs are here to ruin Dungeons and Dragons by Linda Codega in Gizmodo. So let's just go again. And so again, we haven't really done too many of these. So yeah, Andrew's read it, but I know Mike and Matt have not. So feel free, stop me whenever, because there's a lot to unpack here. Hopefully we'll be able to get through it. We might run a little long, but we'll let's go.
Yeah.
So again, this is Linda Codega and Gizmodo. The first time that Patrick Comer tweeted about tabletop role-playing games was in October 2021. He asked, "Who are hands down the best D&D character illustrators out there?" He got one response. L, major L.
L plus ratio /
yeah.
you fell off.
/ copium / malding / hair loss. Yeah.
So that same month, an unassuming Twitter account was created at Gripnr, which again I can also only think of Grindr when I see it.
Every time I see it, I think the same thing. Just
okay.
That?
So yeah, what's up?
Absolutely maidenless.
So by choice.
Yes.
Its bio describes Gripnr as, quote, a Web3 company building 5th edition TTRPG on chain. Gripnr is a company currently being built by Revelry, a New Orleans-based startup studio. Brent McCrossan, a managing director at Revelry, is the CEO of Gripnr. That's a great sign when you're that a company has a bold future when its creators got to get booted away for some corporate hack to run the show.
Yeah.
So he is the president and head of product, the Patrick Comer, the actual creator.
Comer?
Comer, yeah.
Comer.
He might be a
Comer.
Comer.
Humor.
So he is the president head of product. That product, which nobody outside of the company has seen yet, is a digital platform to allow fans of the tabletop role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons to role-play using NFTs indicative of player characters, and then save the details of their gameplay adventures on the blockchain, increasing the complexity and value of the NFT. They call this as a play-to-progress system. This isn't adding anything to the gameplay experience, says James Introcaso, an award-winning game designer who has worked on official D&D products. A blockchain isn't a game mechanic or campaign setting that encourages a player to engage with the game in a particular way. D&D writer and podcaster Teos Abadia is more critical of the idea. Gripnr suggests a horrible, self-centered, and self-enriching concept that is anathema to the group collaboration and sense of mutual giving that makes the RPG hobby so special, he says.
Yeah, this is like it's so counterintuitive to what playing D&D is about. It's like such a ridiculous idea, even on the surface. Also, part of me reading this is like, this shit's not real. This shit's never actually existing. This is a scam. People are getting ripped off by these two guys. Like, there's just nothing actually.
But then again, it's like, as this article goes on, as we'll get to, it's just like, again, he's just like a sweet moron. It's like yeah, maybe the guy from Revelry or whatever, the VC vultures are, they know what they're doing. They're in on the con, but this guy he's too sweet and innocent to realize. Which is not a defense of him. Which is not a defense.
My meme reaction to that is the James Franco gif where he's
first time.
What I think is interesting about this, it was making me, the fact of this, will this ever be a thing? Will this ever come to fruition? And all of these like NFT projects is these like corporate stooges who took like one philosophy class, like read something about like, and Ben will appreciate this, like, is fantasy reality, or like some philosophy like that. And now like anything they imagine is like a reality to them that they can make money off of. And they're right, because whether or not, it comes to fruition or not, they end up making money somehow, whether, ripping people off,
they just
filing bankruptcy.
They just secured some decent funding for a small startup.
Separating fools from money is the longest running business in mankind history. It's just changed forms over time.
But so you may be
the wandering
asking,
snake oil salesman, the NFT developer, they're all the same.
You may be asking, what is Gripnr and how is it supposed to work?
Damn.
Yes.
Gripnr, a reference to the mythological Glipnr, a chain in Norse stories. It's like the chain the dwarves forged to hold back the wolf Fenris or whatever till Ragnarok comes.
Should have just been Dripnr.
Damn.
I don't see how it's
real
a
missed
reference.
Opportunity there.
I don't see how it's a reference when only like 3 of the letters are the same.
Literally.
They've gotten rid of a few.
That's one of those
one.
When you're sitting in school and the teacher's like, "This is the symbolism of a moth flying around a lamp, meaning this," and you're like, "Okay."
This strikes me as this is like just the tech guy, nerd shit of Peter
100%.
Thiel doing like Palantir and that kind of stuff.
Well, and that's what I was
100%.
getting at with them, like reading like a fantasy is reality.
Yeah.
If it's my naming convention, all those letters actually mean something. And it's an acronym.
Yeah, got to do acronym.
And it might be the dumbest acronym ever.
All right, so
that was my naming convention for part files.
It is a Web3 tabletop role-playing game project currently in development, led by Comer, 4 handpicked tech supporters, and 1 tabletop RPG writer. Right now, the company is in the process of preparing its game content, mainly written by Gripnr's lead game designer, Stephen Radney McFarland.
There's too many Irishmen.
TTRPG. Yeah.
This is the problem. There's too many Irish.
Get them out of here.
Why, you can never trust them.
You never
get the
trust
Boston people out of here.
I can say that because I'm part Irish.
I can say because I'm Italian.
So this guy is a TTRPG veteran who has written for D&D and Paizo's Pathfinder. His work will include lore and maps of a fantasy world currently called the Glimmering. So after this stage is complete, Gripnr plans to generate 10,000 random D&D player characters, assign a rarity to certain aspect of each, such as ancestry and class. Doing race science, always good.
Always doing chronology.
And then mint them as non-fungible tokens, NFTs. Each NFT will include character stats and a randomly generated portrait of the PC, designed in a process overseen by Gripnr's lead artist. Okay, we can skip that. Additional NFTs will be minted to represent weapons and equipment.
This is the part that to me just makes no sense. Literally the fun of Dungeons and Dragons is creating your fucking character.
Yeah. Unless the only time I've ever used a pre-generated character is like the first time I ever played D&D with the starter set. That is literally like one of the fundamental aspects of the game.
I've seen DMs use random generators for like NPCs and shit.
Right, sure, that's completely used. That
makes sense.
Like the Dungeon Master's Guide has tables to do that. So like that's just a tool for game masters.
Staying within the campaign Comrades lore and meta, it's almost as if the Gripnr idiots read that Mario NFT article that we did the other reading series on, and we're like, okay, D&D, we could get a lot of characters, and then just like people want to have the only Mario, we'll have the only red elf with a scholarly background that they have to purchase.
They would definitely do a tie over with you get to be the characters from Critical Role, but only one of you would get to be Vex. One would get to be Vax.
Perfect. That's exactly fuck, if they listen to this, we just gave them a business idea.
Do you know how many of these I've done where I've given them bad ideas? I'm just a bad idea.
No, it's the meme from the internet. It's like, throwing the ball. It's Apollo, the gift of prophecy, giving the gift of prophecy. All right. So next, Gripnr will build a system of recording game progress on the Polygon blockchain. Players will log into the system and will play an adventure under the supervision of a Gripnr certified game master.
I feel like they're just putting fucking words together. Polygon blockchain. Okay.
You're gonna have
Pineapple.
to pay.
Might as well call it something fucking cooler.
It's not their. That's not their protocol. That's another.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying the general protocol.
Yeah.
Might as well use cool.
It's better off them using terms like this, because when they try to use cool terms, we get Gripnr.
Yeah, they just come up as absolute.
Yeah, but now they're taking my
nerds.
math terms, man. Leave my math terms alone. I don't need to scare people.
They're gonna charge people to become Gripnr certified game masters.
No,
That's totally a revenue stream.
You gotta see what happens for the GMs. It's a nightmare, dude.
Can we just counter this and just make Gripnr and just do the exact opposite? Just make a website where it's just like, oh, you want to make your character? Here you go.
Here you go.
Leave.
So after each game session is over, the outcome will be logged on chain, putting data back onto each NFT via a new contract protocol that allows a single NFT to become a long record of the character's progression. Gripnr will distribute the cryptocurrency Opal to GMs and players as in-game capital. Any loot, weapons, or items garnered in-game will be minted as new sellable NFTs on OpenSea, the popular NFT marketplace.
Shut it down.
As PCs gain levels in game, Gripnr asserts that their associated NFTs will become more valuable, and when they are resold, the owner and any creatives who contributed to the associated portrait will receive a cut of the sale price. Comer says this could mean as many as 10 people could conceivably receive money from each sale, but could not provide percentages that each creative might receive. I'm scratching my beard, I'm scratching my chin. Unfortunately, writing data to a blockchain isn't as simple as writing hit points in pencil and well-worn paper character sheet. Every time a user wants to perform a function on the Polygon blockchain, like adjusting the character level on an NFT PC, that's an NFT player character, they have to pay a gas fee, a tiny charge that helps fund the computational resources required to make the change. This means on the Gripnr protocol, there will be 2 gas fees per game that players must pay. Gripnr says it will keep fees down by operating on Polygon rather than another more popular blockchain like Ethereum. More on this later, though, the author says.
But like, man, like for a second here, as an engineer, someone in the design world, like if you can't make it better than the thing that's easier, then
Right.
don't do it.
No, there are so
There's
many.
no need
So there are so
to.
many people active
Line
in
go
like
up.
in TTRPG. There may even be one quote that I had to skip because it wasn't. The rest of it wasn't super relevant. But it's like this thing has from the get-go fails to justify its existence.
Yeah, it
in,
has
in
no
terms
purpose.
of in terms of game design. Not even in
That
terms
is
of
my
its not even its crypto Web3 bullshit mission. It does not satisfy any game design need.
It's my least favorite design prompt when they give you something that just can't be better than something that already exists. And they're like, make it anyway. It's like, but why?
But why?
It doesn't need to exist. We already have this.
This is maybe something that we don't have to think too hard about now, and maybe something to think about and bring
now I'm
back
mad.
later. No. What I'm gonna say is, like, to me, like, for all of these like internet schemes that go on, and at least in Web 2, and maybe this is the reason why it's like different in Web 3, but I still think they would carry over, is like Web 2 is all about data collection and selling data. Like Amazon, Facebook, all these places, their data has then fueled Web 3 in the metaverse, collecting all the data on us. Like, and so even creating like some of these small little spin-off internet things, like everything is collecting data and selling data and advertising fees or whatever. And like, that's how they're making their money on the back end, other than these small transactions. So to me, it's just like, if they're not expressly like, if you don't know the express way that they're collecting their data, it's like, okay, we got to play the game, find the data collection. Like, what data are they like then collecting from us to make some sort of profit or potential profit? Because even if they believe in their fucking idea here, or believe
in a conceptual term, the data is the money that they're stealing from you.
Well, I understand that, but like, there has to be something beyond that. Like, I know they're getting it off these gas fee per, the transactions.
No, they're making their bet is they're making money in the marketplace they're creating. They're gonna just take cuts of all the sales.
That's what this company is different. This company is different in this sense, and this is something that we'll get to in the article. That like how, again, it not only does it fall apart on terms of game design, but it also defeats itself in its like Web3 intentionality.
Yeah, this isn't gonna work.
Because it is essentially fundamentally reliant upon a centralized market within itself.
It's not going to work because they'll just make it work anyway.
But like, my thing is, no one's going to do this. That's the thing. No one will do this. You have to pay so much to do a game you can play for free.
Wait until it's not a choice.
And that's why I'm saying,
here's the thing. Something with D&D is like and the article gets to this. They're competing with the ability to just play like literally at the kitchen table. There's nobody who can stop you from doing that.
Yeah.
Wait until there's no more physical books and they've collected them all up and
burned them.
Fahrenheit
right 9/11. Yeah. All right. So hold on. Let's not get too distracted. There's because a lot of this is talked about in the article. Yeah. So in order to play on the Gripnr protocol, players will not only have to purchase the Gripnr specific NFT. But they'll have to buy or earn Opal to pay for a game session or make purchases of digital goods, such as items and adventures. And all these purchases will help keep this particular tech company running, keeping Gripnr, the company, afloat. Next headline or header: why Gripnr probably won't work.
They're using the mobile game model essentially in terms of that.
So in an interview with IO9, Comer emphasized Gripnr's potential to distribute capital value to everyone at the table and behind the scenes. This is, according to Comer, one of its core purposes, but their plan to make Gripnr and its NFT PCs valuable beyond a limited edition release is riddled with vulnerabilities and relies on an as-yet barely real Gripnr community. The biggest problem here is that Gripnr is basically making character sheets and recording the difference between the start and end of a session. There is no reason to use the Gripnr protocol except a desire to increase the value of your investment, which means that players won't be playing Dungeons & Dragons for fun, they'll be playing Gripnr to earn real-world money. Gripnr is creating a system of monetarily incentivized gameplay that will require both GMs and players to invest both time and crypto capital in NFT PCs on speculation that any single player's NFT will appreciate with gameplay and over time. Gripnr says it can build out its D&D based NFT scheme under the Open Gaming License, or the OGL. The OGL is a set of conditions granted by D&D's publisher, Hasbro-owned Wizards of the Coast. Boo, we still don't like them. In order to encourage independent game developers to design and sell their own content using the 5th edition rules for D&D. But the OGL only allows certain elements and mechanics of the system, not the whole game. And Gripnr has stated that it will provide better options for 5e play, which players have been clamoring for. All those in quotes. Gripnr doesn't state what these options are or what they plan to add to make 5e quote unquote better. Wizards of the Coast, a spokesperson said, we do not allow third parties to misappropriate our valuable IP and take appropriate steps when necessary. While there's not much information on the specifics of what Gripnr is building, the company does offer a loose, phase-based roadmap on their Discord server, which is also publicly published at the bottom of the Glimmerings information page. So there are eight published phases. The first one, gather the party, getting the technology, artwork, and game design just perfect, launching the website, building the community, and preparing for the adventure of a lifetime. We are here right now. Phase 2, roll to mint. Want access to the pre-sale, play games in the Discord, join a Gripnr campaign on Twitch, write backstories on proposed player characters, give feedback on art, tech in the world, and invite your friends to the party. Those at the top of the leaderboard win, but win what?
Roll to mint is just like, it's beautiful. It's perfect. I don't know. I find it amazing.
They get early access to potentially more rare or higher rarity NFTs. So then comes phase 3, the public mint. Whatever is left after the roll to mint campaign will be offered to the general public on a first come, first served basis at the same fair price. Tech is being developed to prevent bots and fraud. That sounds encouraging. Yeah. Phase 4 enters tavern. Connect your wallet to the Gripnr wiki, write your character's backstory, and share it with the world. Best writers win a custom printed Gripnr poster created and signed by our lead artist, Angry Blue. Oh my god, I saw the poster in question. Dog shit.
Isn't it in the article?
Yeah, I'm not reading from the article.
Yeah, it's in the article. If everyone else has it open, we can we'll have the article in the show notes. It's dog shit. It looks like I did it in like after or in a publisher or whatever the fuck the Adobe program is.
Don't put yourself down like that, King. We don't stand for that here.
I firmly believe this is a grift. This is a grift. They're just trying to take funds from investors, and this is gonna fail so quickly because
that's what I'm saying. We gotta grift the grifters and make Gripnr. It's even a good catchy slogan.
We're not even we're halfway through the phases, so bear with me. Phase 5, a world is formed. We reveal the world of Gripnr with all of its bogs, mountains, badlands, and valleys. Certified game masters get first dips at.
That's supposed to be dibs.
First dibs at, I think
definitely,
probably. First dibs at claiming areas where they want to run campaigns. Wallet snapshots are taken, and some lucky holders get custom printed maps signed by the artist.
So it's like fucking Fortnite dropping out of the bus. You gotta like find where you're gonna defend. Where you're gonna run your campaigns.
Where are we dropping, boys?
No, that's ridiculous. Yeah, you got to fight with other GMs. It's like, oh fuck, I need this area.
And you're also building characters. You're building characters without even like knowing the world.
Right. Roll the dice. Let the adventure begin. Join campaigns with game masters and other player characters. All character outcomes are logged on chain. Level up your character, or even the most common NFTs can become more rare via gameplay. Win loot, HP, and gold. Step 7. Member only merch store is launched. There will be probably whatever. I don't care about that one.
Yay, drop
8,
shipping.
The adventure continues. Super secret drop to community members that held their NFT. Oh my god, that one's amazing. Super secret drop to community members that held their NFTs. Come on, you gotta hold on.
Yeah,
don't sell. Don't sell to the moon. To the moon.
Diamond hands, baby.
So expansions of the world are announced, and we start seed fund emerging artists and game designs that want to build on the Gripnr protocol. Our community gets first offering for all that comes next.
Dude,
What's the Gripnr protocol going to be?
I can't wait for like the 3 people who use this to get first in line.
So
they're gonna feel so special.
There will be a couple real special people who do this that are just like normal cucks who getting screwed here. But the people that will be using this are going to be people like the guys with that mobile game. Yeah, like Axie.
Yeah,
and it's just gonna be people doing it
like
just to make money.
Fucking like, you know,
because the only way this
things.
works is if you have like an actual player base in marketplace to build value in, and like they have no one doing that. So
here's the big thing about these phases that is just wild to me. It's basically that they are, you know, doing the minting process and, you know, selling all of them like 3 or 4 phases before anything actually goes public, before the platform goes live until phase 6.
So you're paying.
So they all have to, all investors,
the Tesla
you know,
model.
They got to stick around for months before their investment has even a chance to appreciate through gameplay.
Right.
So this means that individual community investors will be asked to put quite a bit of money in the Gripnr treasury long before Gripnr they intend to deliver on-chain gameplay. Again, I'm stroking my chin here again. It is this promise protocol that is the center of Gripnr's mission, and without it, all you've got is a pre-generated D&D character or a D&D character sword. The initial investment is so far ahead of the promised deliverable, it's not hard to imagine the community might never see it at all. Lars Doucette, a game developer who specializes in analyzing blockchain-based games, told IO9 that blockchain games always want to be user-generated content games, whether they recognize it or not. But the user-generated value of D&D is in playing the game itself and having an adventure with your friends rather than the expectation of capital gain. This is what Gripnr is really competing against, Doucette says. The ability to play D&D on any other platform, including at the kitchen table. And Gripnr is giving players a lot of time to get bored with just owning an NFT when there are virtual tabletop services like Roll20 and Astral available for play right now. Not to mention, this is other, you know, news worth mentioning, the fact that Wizards of the Coast just officially bought D&D Beyond for like 150 million. You know, it's no longer licensed. It's, you know, now part of the family of Earth. That's totally, they're going to be developing their own virtual tabletop.
Yep.
All right, so skipping a little bit ahead here.
Before you get to that, I just, you know, something we brought up with, especially with Axie, is like I think we're going to see more and more of this, the Gripnr model like this, to the extent that, you know, NFTs stay a hot thing until like the next new thing comes around. But it just keeps incentivizing, because there is no like organic community. It's just going to keep incentivizing things like Axie, where it's just a community generated specifically around capital gain and speculation, where, you know, they have
a literal pyramid scheme.
Yes,
it's literally a pyramid scheme.
So you've got one person on top who can fund the little guys.
Yeah. So
also, I think they were like, what are we, grifters? Let's call this.
Let's call it Grifner. Oh no, that's too on the nose.
Yeah.
All right, so skipping just a bit ahead here in the article. Another major issue that Gripnr is facing is how to prevent fraud. In a scenario where a D&D character's successes increase its real-world monetary value, there's incentive for players and game masters to abuse gameplay or even just fake a game, inputting values onto the into the NFT without actually playing in order to artificially inflate the value.
That's amazing.
Comer is aware of this issue and apologetic. He doesn't quite know yet how to prevent fraud, he says, but be assured he's got a lot of ideas that are currently being play tested. You know, my concerns completely taken care of.
But it's fine because
they're looking into it.
It's fine because they haven't even launched it.
I have a lot of ideas too.
They haven't launched it yet. So it's fine that he just has ideas. This is all ideas at this point, you know.
If you're listening, Gripnr, you could just stop.
Or just hire Matt.
All right,
Oh
so
my god.
Andreas Walters, an IT systems analyst and an award-winning tabletop game designer, told IO9 that despite using a trustless blockchain to record events and make payouts, this all relies on both inputs and outputs from human actors. And with money involved, if any money is even being made, you create a system waiting to be exploited. And I think that's exactly right. This is especially true of Gripnr, which will rely on character sheet inputs from the GM without any automation or virtual tabletop software to confirm basic data points like dice rolls. That's so fucking obvious. It's like, how do you not get
That's
that?
amazing. That's beautiful.
What solutions
Dude.
proposed?
D&D Beyond have that? Where the
Yes,
GM
yes,
gets-
exactly. Yes, if you're running a campaign in D&D Beyond, you can see all dice rolls. It's nuts.
Every player,
So one
it's
solution
not even
proposed.
just the GM. It's like every
Yeah,
player.
right,
No,
right.
it's very transparent.
So one solution they
We actually
proposed.
turned it on in our campaign because we were questioning a certain player's roles, and they weirdly stopped being so good.
Yeah, it sucks when you gotta do that. I always let them. I let my players just have free reign. I don't care because hell, I fudge rolls half the time anyways. Shh, don't tell them. The
What a good GM does.
Yeah. Okay. So one of their solutions is to establish a system of checks and balances at the center of which are the Gripnr certified GMs who will record their games using a third-party system like Twitch or Zoom, allowing other Gripnr GMs to review and audit the proceedings. But the system is still under development, according to Comer. Oh my god.
That is the stupidest way to solve this
gosh.
problem.
That's dumber than the checks and balances in the Constitution.
That is so dumb.
Another method Gripnr says it could use to prevent fraud will be to have every game's GM offer one of their own NFTs as collateral, held by the company until a positive review of the game has occurred. If the GM is ruled to have cheated, the staked token will be burnt or removed from the blockchain circulation. So it's like, who's going to choose to do that?
I think you've killed me inside. I'm dead. I'm done.
It's like, who's going to choose to do that?
Yeah.
Like, what the
Oh
fuck?
my god.
You know,
my
these
That's
like you're trying to get people.
the shadow realm. That's
It's like you're trying to get people who buy into this thing, and so it's like you need for particularly for
they
the
need
GM,
to believe in the
they
value.
they need to believe in this full-hearted, or else none of this is going to work beyond the technical thing. Games just won't run without having actually engaged game masters, and it's like you're just completely disincentivizing them from playing at all. It's like, unless they're like, the only thing that could happen is if there's money involved, and isn't that going to create just such a loving and rewarding gameplay experience for gamers?
I'm not convinced this isn't an Onion article.
Like, the article itself is the article is great, but it's just the
facts of it.
There's an
of what's
entire
going on.
subreddit dedicated to stuff like this called r/not the
not
onion.
the onion. Yeah. Okay, so I'm skipping over a bit where they talk about the actual minting process of the tokens, which is basically algorithmically mashing together random art assets to create 10,000 quote unique tokens, a process that rarely sees any real profit go to the artist. Yeah, and not to mention the fact that they all look like shit.
Yeah, they're really
they all look so bad.
It does look like an AI that I created.
It's MS Paint.
Yeah.
It's MS
It
Paint.
reminds me of the trend of like, I typed this word into an AI generator and it made me this image.
Yeah.
Just reminds me of that type of shit.
And like the lines of the character, like the thickness and everything, like everything's inconsistent. It just looks like 10 different artists like drew.
Yeah, it looks like a computer put it together. It looks like what it is.
It's beautiful. It's high art.
Continuing on here, like most claims about income with the NFT market, the value of Gripnr's tokens is completely speculative. These 10,000 NFTs will be worthless unless they are bought and sold by people who think they are an investment whose value, and not just its in-game complexity, will appreciate over time. Those people may not exist. Right now, Gripnr's community is tiny. As of Wednesday, April 6th, the company's Twitter account has less than 500 followers, and their Discord has half that. With such a massive drop of NFTs planned, who's buying, and where will these buyers come from?
Dude, time to launder some money. Time to launder
exactly right here. So Comer admits that there are likely to be many people who buy Gripnr NFTs because they're collectors rather than players. Great job. Great job.
Collectors and just not money launderers.
Yeah, and promise there will be a ratio to balance out these different buyers. But if Gripnr is focused on building a community, anonymous rarity snipers are hardly going to make people feel like part of a group of tight-knit gamers. And it's these core players who Gripnr needs to keep happy, or else they won't have anyone to play on their protocol, and there will be no way for any NFT PC to earn value, rather than to accrue speculative value.
This dude can't even figure out how to verify dice rolls across the platform. How is he gonna like verify and balance a ratio of speculators and like the one
actual game
player?
Actual game,
which is just one. So I guess it'll be easy because it's going to be very few of the latter.
One Discord user here puts it perfectly. In some ways, community is capital, and Gripnr means it literally. Crypto is meant to decentralize power, but Gripnr is planning to centralize within its own protocols. It needs to have players on its platform in order to create value via on-chain gameplay. It will release Gripnr exclusive adventures. There will be Gripnr approved DMs, and the value of the NFT player characters will only exist because of its technology. The value of Gripnr depends on centralization, undermining the mission of the Web3 technology it seeks to bring to the tabletop space.
But Web3 is, this is a whole nother topic, but Web3 is like a platform centralization, just in a different model of centralization than we're used to describing.
It's called decentralized, actually.
Yeah, haven't you heard the good word of the blockchain? Haven't all the NFT bots in our mentions taught you by now?
It's a decentralized ledger.
Decentralized, where you could like shake and bake to fucking change shit up and further launder money.
Skipping ahead again to the section we're on, the environmental impact Gripnr poses through its use of the Polygon blockchain, which again they claim uses 99.5% less energy compared to others, according to Comer.
Who's auditing these blockchains? Yeah,
right here. Economist and writer Alex DeVries did an investigation into Polygon's energy usage and found that the 99.5 figure only measures the impact on servers Polygon owns. So it's meaningless as a measure of impact, as Polygon actually runs part of its protocols on the Ethereum blockchain. DeVries told IO9 he conservatively estimated Polygon's carbon footprint through Ethereum's network on February 3rd alone at 1,598,215 kilograms, or about 1,875 tons per day. According to the University of Michigan, the average American home accrues 48 tons of emissions per year. In DeVries' words, this cannot simply be ignored. And Gripnr is not a mint once project. All adventuring gameplay outcomes put data back on the chain, which uses more energy. The company also plans to mint more NFT PC player characters over time. It could double or even triple those 10,000 NFTs over the next few years.
Who remembers the global outrage over Volkswagen fluffing their economy numbers?
That was huge.
I had to study it.
And now all of a sudden we're just like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, they're touting numbers.
That almost killed them. That almost killed them.
It was a huge congressional investigation.
And how long was that? Was like what, 9-10 years ago? It was like 2011, 2012.
It was or maybe even 09.
It hasn't even been that long, and we've already been conditioned to just be okay with it.
Well, it's because it's tech sector, man, and tech sector can do no wrong.
Tech means good.
But also, like, this study pointed out,
hence why this company got $2.5 million.
Yeah,
exactly.
But, like, as they pointed out,
Gripnr could get more.
Their measurements are only based on their servers and not the Ethereum servers, and not even like the Amazon servers that they use to
it just like what made me think about the connection was like Volkswagen was putting their cars into test mode to get different eco readings. And it's kind of the same type of deal where it's like you're changing what you're actually measuring to get you the number you want to show people.
Exactly.
Okay, Okay, so there's a whole section of the article that we're gonna glance over because it's just talking about the staff makeup, and like there's like 5 people, but basically the gist of it is none of them have any credentials or experience in game design. The best one to me is including a creative director who is not even a gamer, according to this
Nice.
the guy Comer himself in the interview.
Wow. The ultimate sin.
Admitted that the creative director of a gaming platform is not a gamer.
Who invested?
I like to imagine
with
he
these
walks
fuckers?
around.
Who actually invested with these people?
There was an
I like to imagine
there's
he
an
walks
article
around
about
twirling a
list of
cane.
firms. I don't care.
Twirling the cane, and people are like, oh, talking about like games and stuff, and he's like, get back to work, you swine.
Yeah.
Get that talk out of my my grift.
All right. Final section here. Probably the best subheader of the entire article. This is bad gaming, and you should feel bad. One of the most basic problems with Gripnr is that it's simply bad game design. By developing a protocol to prioritize real-world capital gains, Gripnr is fundamentally changing how players are expected to interact with the rules of the game. It's not just D&D with a blockchain layer, it's Gripnr the game. Gripnr demands the construction of new software to emulate character sheets, which can easily be made on paper, in word processing software like Google Docs, or in any number of digital toolboxes, including, this article came out before the news, and it says the officially licensed D&D Beyond, which is, now the officially owned software. The product Gripnr is attempting to create, the product Gripnr is attempting to create already exists in multiple forms for many different games across many different systems, including old-fashioned print and play gaming. The quote unquote problems that Gripnr is trying to solve, problems that Gripnr calls fundamental opportunities. Oh my God, I love that corporate speak.
Yeah.
So the problems that they call fundamental opportunities are to give players the ability to quote prove their successes via blockchain verification and to bring monetary value to the table via NFTs. But these aren't issues that players are demanding to see fixed.
I don't know about you guys. But I play D&D to own other D&D players with my D&D accomplishments.
Right.
So this is perfect for me.
Hold on.
Every time I see a fellow D&D player, we basically we puff our chests up and we start screaming accomplishments of our characters.
Hold on, but I just want to go back to one of the fundamental opportunities that they're giving players, the ability to prove your successes on the blockchain. Meanwhile, the beginning of the article says they haven't even figured out how to eliminate fraud,
verify any of it,
and to verify any of the dice rolls or anything. Like, so the main thing that they're offering, they have not even come up with a solution to. They have some ethereal ideas about.
We're gonna
I
have.
mean, that's kind of the that's like Elon Musk type marketing.
No, they
you say really big things that get people
100%.
excited, but you don't actually have them solved yet.
Yeah,
No,
like
you use
the
the
Roadster.
model.
Like the Roadster. Where's
Yeah.
the Roadster?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about the Roadster. I
Where's
was
the
thinking about
truck?
the Cybertruck, the Cyber ATV.
No, the reason they're gonna solve it by developing the precogs from Minority Report, and they'll know if anyone's cheating beforehand, and they'll ban them. So
Then they'll
that's
go
how they're gonna
execute
solve
them.
that problem.
It'll be some like Blade Runner shit where some android will just kick your door in and fucking blow your brains out for.
So one of the actual real game designers that they interviewed early in the article has a good quote here. They say, I play in programs at stores, at conventions, and in home groups. I don't agree that these are problems players are looking to solve. These read to me as schemes designed to play with financial valuation for the purposes of Gripnr's self-enrichment, rather than an actual desire to create a sound offering that contributes to the game. I've never had to certify what level my character was, and it's not worth my time to play with anybody who wouldn't trust me. It's like, I think that again really nails it again. Like, who is this for? Nobody. This is for the investors, and that's it.
Mhm.
All right, party. You meet up at a tavern. This is the first time you've met each other. Introduce yourselves. I'm a level 20 paladin.
You have to believe me.
Well, his blockchain
this is supposed
verification probably says it because he hacked it and
Yeah.
fucking typed it into the NFT, and there you go. because
a level 20 paladin, I have 7 divine smites.
Yeah.
I do 200 damage per swing.
So Gripnr's first fundamental opportunity, blockchain verification, falls short because there's no actual certification of achievement, either from Wizards of the Coast or any other authority. There's just a line on an NFT receipt. Whatever authority Gripnr hopes to assign their NFTs is fallible due to the fact that they are relying on trust-based human inputs, human review, and human understandings of a tabletop role-playing game that is at its core about improv. The second fundamental opportunity bringing tangible value to players is problematic because the value of TTRPGs is not in the things, but the experience. Players don't value their favorite characters because it has a rare sword. They value it because of the story of how they got the sword and how they will
How
make
dare
more great
he.
stories using it in the future. D&D is supposed to be fun, not financially productive.
My character's only development is the cool sword.
I'm convinced none of them have ever played D&D.
No, they haven't.
Like never in their life. And the reason I say that is not even because like their misunderstanding of the game, but just the fact that they don't even know D&D Beyond exists. Like, you know, some of their problems are easily solved by, you know, tech that or code.
Well,
that
it's
is
not just
out
D&D
there.
Beyond though.
Yeah, that's what
There's
I'm
like so
saying.
many
Exactly.
of these.
There's
Like
so many.
To be ignorant of how many of these that already exist. Not even including paid ones like Fantasy Grounds and shit like that.
So they clearly were like sitting at, you know, they sent out that tweet where they got one response, but they were all sitting in a room and they're like, you know, despite this low number of engagement, you know, we got 10,000 impressions or some shit. So maybe, you know, people must be interested in a D&D NFT, and then just fucking threw it out there. It's clearly just to profit off of that, you know, in a way that's not going to impact or, you know, trigger intellectual property rights. It's like, it's a way for them to profit off the IP and just make NFTs for it.
All right, so we're getting to the end of the article here, so let's just power through it because
I was gonna say we're
we're
starting to
running
get long.
we're running long, but it's I do think it is worth it. So they ask, what is the demonstrable capital value then in having your character break down in fear and panic instead of mindlessly attacking a monster? What will happen when a GM wants to give out a particularly overpowered item to a rogue, knowing they will misuse it for fun? Or what if they give it to a paladin, hoping to provide narrative tension within a group of chaotic players? What about going off the rails, going to the moon, going to meet God? What happens when a GM wants to go off script and just have fun with it? Yeah, what happens when you just want to get a little nutty? You know, I know that's my GM style. It's
My campaign just got on an airship.
Yeah.
It's
like-
some like super technological shit that we've never seen. That's super cool.
It's like I
Can't do that there.
can outline stuff, but my players are going to take in a direction I can never conceive of. So I'm never planning that far ahead.
Yeah, and I'm always
only ever-
hiding.
Yeah, we know that. So Gripnr is over-engineering a game which has, as one of its fundamental tenets, the ability to throw away the rulebook and just do what's going to be fun. By restricting outcomes and enforcing limited character gain, Gripnr is incentivizing railroading. In the glimmering, fun is allowed, but only on Gripnr's terms, in Gripnr's system, on Gripnr's protocols. Comer admits that he can't expressly limit GM's ability to adapt the story to the characters, but he says there will be limits to the loot people will get from any game. This is still a limitation that restricts the GM's ability to make sure the game serves the player first. The review process, regardless of the legal of or the level of oversight, will force GMs to railroad their games for fear of having their NFT burned or being expelled from a community they've invested real money to join. These GMs, regardless of talent, will be little better than video game narrators who invite people to act out their interactions, but still force them into predetermined outcomes.
It'll be like Horizon.
I was gonna say I've already experienced that with a Biomutant, which was just fucking narration the video game.
D&D is built on the idea of collaboration. It's deliberately designed to encourage players to work together. To add capital value to their interactions, risk creating out-of-character conflict of interest within the game itself. If another character gets to make the killing blow, will that raise their level instead of mine, thus making their character worth more on OpenSea? If I find something first, will my character be more valuable than my neighbors? Will some of this conflict, while some of these conflict exists in the game already, it is strictly limited to the characters, not the players. All gold in D&D is fictional. when the most optimal action to increase the character's value is one that impacts other people's experience of the game, but consideration over whether it would be harmful to the other players or characters isn't factored in, then it can become a toxic, unsafe, and not fun experience for anyone, says Kiana Shaw, a game designer and Emmy-winning co-creator of the TTRPG Safety Toolkit. Ultimately, a game should be fun and safe for everyone at the table, and this style of competitive self-focused play doesn't support that. No, it's incentivizing you to be as absolutely toxic and dickish as possible.
Yeah.
It's like it's
So
only
it's
for
a real
power.
gaming.
You got to be
Real
you got to be a real gamer. You got to be the power gamer. Gatekeep. So Gripnr is also operating on the assumption that people who play D&D will want to purchase a pre-minted character to play in the game, ignoring the intricacies that come along with in-game mechanical character development. How many players use a pre-made character in their games beyond the first few learning sessions? Like I said before, most D&D games have folks making specific and considerate advancements to their character for an end game that makes sense within their narrative. Again, Gripnr fails to understand the play culture that they're hoping to exploit. The problem is that their much larger goal to provide an entry for on-chain gaming for the TTRPG community ignores the backlash that other communities in the tabletop community itself have already issued against blockchain projects. Gripnr is not a maverick in the tabletop industry. Rather, it's a pet project attempting to exploit a hobby by creating a centralized protocol of diminishing returns on investments that will only appreciate with non-sustainable continual buy-in from new investors while simultaneously contributing to the death of the planet. Damn, go off, Queen.
Right.
It devalues the very reason people play games, to have fun, in favor of capital exchange. Ultimately, the very structure of Gripnr resembles a pyramid scheme in D&D clothing. When Comer spoke to IO9, he got the most excited and joyful when he described how he's teaching his children to play D&D. When his oldest had a milestone birthday, she threw a D&D party and ran an adventure for her friends. And you know what monster they ran into? He asked, grinning, so proud of his kid. A baby gelatinous cube. How cute is that? That's what I love about D&D, he said. The ability to get creative with it. The ability is just, the ability to just put anything out there and play the game with your friends. I don't think he sees the irony.
Oh my God, this guy is a beautiful idiot.
Yeah. I want to meet him.
Yo, props to Linda. Great piece.
Yeah, great article here. Definitely go give her some love.
And I just love that ultimately it reinforces what we talk about every week on this podcast, and that capital ruins everything.
That's right. All right. So yeah, we went long this week. I think it's all been said though. We'll just do some quick plugs. Follow us on Twitter at CampCompod, best place to learn when new episodes are coming out, or when we stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/campaign_comrades. Come check us out. We play games every week. We talk about them. We do all sorts of fun stuff. I think that's it though. The world is looking bleaker than ever, and we're here to keep you informed. We are going to go, back and stick our heads in the lands between and become Elden Lords, and that will seek to fill the gaping hole in our social existence.
Unfortunately, I don't think that hole is getting filled. I think I'm at the point now where the hole is being ripped open as I'm watching all of these characters I've grown to love around me die slowly. It's really fun.
Right, gang. Until next time, we will see you then. Bye-bye.